Welcome to Unraveling with July and Jamie, where we fan the flames of every woman's inner fire and guide you on your journey of self-reclamation through the rebellious act of radical self-love. We dive deep into the layers of healing, unravel the conditioning that holds us back, and plant the seeds of change that set us free. Even though it's our podcast, like, hey, thanks for, no, we're recording. Hey,
you want to welcome me to the podcast?
Yeah, thanks. We should welcome each other.
Welcome.
Like, thanks for showing up
today.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks for being here. Okay, we're gonna dive right into doing a fun little banter question.
Okay.
Is this thing on? Just kidding. It's on, right? Pick a number between 4 and 19. This is how we do this. This is so great. So random. 4 and 19.
4 and 19.
Hopefully it's not one you already picked before, but it's fine.
Okay.
We haven't done very many.
Okay. 12.
12. Okay, great. Oh, fun. Okay. If we were in a heist movie, what would my role in the crew be? That's so fun.
In the crew?
Yeah, like the crew. Yeah, heist movie. They got a crew. They got the, tech guy. They got the, I don't know, plan guy. They got the guns guy. I don't know. Driver.
What would you
really got to think about
in
this.
The crew? I don't know. Knowing you, probably like a stunt double.
A stunt double.
But that's the cast. But
yeah.
So
like if we were planning a heist.
Okay.
What would my role be?
If we were planning a heist?
And like we had other crew members. I know what your role would be.
Like we're planning a real heist?
Yeah, we're planning a real heist.
You're probably the getaway driver.
Oh, yes. I would love that, actually.
Because,
thank you.
Well, I've driven with you.
You said I'm a good driver.
You are a good driver.
Which is perfect.
You're also pretty fast.
Yes, and I do love my little... Mm-hmm. I sometimes, when I'm driving alone, pretend I'm driving like a race car. I'm not going to lie. I'm safe. I don't, I was going to say I don't speed, but that's bullshit. You would obviously be the person with the plan. Like, I think you'd be the team leader. With like, I have a plan.
Yeah.
This is how it's going to go.
Sounds about right.
I would nominate you for that role. Like,
yeah.
I'd be like, somebody else.
It would be well researched.
Exactly, right? Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I would trust you with that plan that we would actually get away with it. I'd be like, nope, this is good. Nope. Yeah. So, getaway driver. That's so fun. I love that. Okay. This was a really successful banter question. I like this one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
So today we're going to talk about we're getting into modern day witch hunts. Eh?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Exciting.
Exciting stuff.
I'm still thinking about the driving, but anyway, I'll focus. I'm going to go for a drive after this.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yes, modern day witch hunts.
Yeah, because we were talking there a couple weeks back, and this we thought, hey, let's.
We're going to talk about Taylor Swift.
We're going to talk about Taylor Swift.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah. So I don't even remember how exactly it came about, but we were. I mean, we were talking about just the criticism.
Yeah,
that happens.
I think the topic of Taylor Swift comes up semi-often. We've talked about her a few times. Yeah.
In positive, ways.
No, totally.
We love Taylor.
I think we do love Taylor. I wish I had a Taylor shirt right now that it could have been like, Swiftie.
Yeah.
But I think it originally came up like the last time we talked about it and kind of got into the discussion of like why we should talk about this on a podcast was there was a lot of posts going around.
Yeah.
I mean, when isn't there about Taylor? But there was kind of like this wave. There's always like waves of posts going around.
Yeah.
I don't know. She probably did something awesome and people were mad about it. So, but no, I had seen a post about her breaking this record on Spotify. And that's kind of where it started.
Yeah.
And it kind of just like got me thinking, and I shared the post and often I'll share posts and I don't really write anything about it, but for whatever reason, this one hit me and I was writing something to kind of go with me sharing this post, and I just got thinking about this my journey with Taylor Swift, and how I have been listening to her since I was 16 years old. Her and I are the same age, so like
That's right.
you know, I remember having her first CD and like driving back and forth to school, listening to her first CD, and you know, and I was thinking about like how through my Taylor Swift journey, I'm gonna call it, there's actually been a lot of times where I've been ashamed to be a Taylor Swift fan. And to like say that I was a Taylor Swift fan because you get made fun of, you get like it's like, oh, you're a Swiftie and like whatever. And
which, you know, I'm just gonna say some of these people, because there's so many people that criticize and say those types of things. Some of them have got to be secretly listening to her. I mean, come on, how else has she reached those numbers?
Yeah.
Right? Like, so I don't think you were the only one who was having like embarrassment. I think some of the people who like are criticizing, I think they secretly are listening.
And I will say, like, in my personal experience, most of the like made fun of-ness that I got was from dudes.
Yes.
Right. And
predominantly it's always male.
Yeah.
I've encountered it once from a female.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, I feel like I have encountered it a little bit from females, but definitely not as much.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, I think that's kind of what like sparked our conversation was
you making
the post and just starting to think about it
and breaking.
Yeah. Thing. And I was like, I was going to kind of like share a lot of her things that she had done, and then I started to research it a little bit, and I was just like, she's broken way too many records for me to and like accomplished too many things, not just as a woman, because so often we see posts and different things of women doing something and it's like she's the first woman. But like Taylor has broken a lot of records for the first person to do this, which I think is like, I mean, it's amazing when, don't get me wrong, when like any woman does something that's like, this is the first woman to do this, fuck yeah.
Absolutely.
But to have someone who's like the first person, you don't even get that comparison. You're like, double fuck yeah. And I just got thinking about, how as a woman, and I think we've had this discussion before too, of like how proud I am, even if I didn't like her music. And I kind of always say this too, where it's like, even if you don't like her music, you should respect her career because
Absolutely.
And like everything that she has done.
Absolutely. And at such a young age too. I mean, to become a billionaire, I mean, like it's a huge accomplishment for a woman to achieve such a thing. And she's a young woman in the scheme of things, Well, do you remember what the record was that
she had broken?
Yeah.
It was, oh my gosh, it was something to do with the amount of downloads that she had gotten on Spotify. I forget what the number was, but yeah, it was like the most downloads on Spotify. I don't know if it was in a certain chunk of time or if it was just in general. And the crazy part about that too, or like the really cool part about that, is she took her music off Spotify for a really long time. So she's only been back on Spotify for I think 8 years, and has like broken, like she has the most downloads.
Yeah, which is incredible. And like, sometimes I'll see posts criticizing. I made a post about it was one of those shared ones of just sort of an awareness of when you're criticizing her. Remember, your daughters are listening, your granddaughters, this sort of thing, because it is predominantly men. And it was a phenomenal post, and many people I'm sure have seen it because it's quite viral. But my gosh, like, I was surprised by the response like I got from a couple people there of just negative women too, and just being like, oh, well, the way she treats men. And it's just like, what are you on about on this? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, and that's when we had this conversation, I related. I said, this type of behavior that we see with Taylor Swift and the way that she's being treated. It is the way that we carry out witch hunts these days. It's the same thing. It's just well, let's just tear them down. I mean, we can't burn them at the stake. We can't imprison her because she's not done anything wrong, but we don't like it. She's too powerful. She's a problem. And we're going to just shred her and talk terrible about her and say disgusting things and just try to make her smaller. We don't like that she's taking up space. We don't like that she's an accomplished, powerful woman. So, and yes, with her, it's happening with, you know, well, like we say, it is predominantly males that we've witnessed, but I have witnessed females doing it. But like,
I mean, I'm sure if we went on to social media in the comments, there'd be plenty of women too.
oh,
Like,
for sure,
I
for
don't really, I
sure.
don't really go down that rabbit hole.
I don't, no, thank you. But like these, you know, this is a serious problem we have within our sister wounds of tearing women down. I mean, Taylor Swift is something, you know, it's on a big mass level and we can see it right in front of us. And no matter what she does, it seems like she's always doing something wrong, even though from everything that I've ever seen, she's actually a pretty decent human being. You know, I'm older, so my first encounter with her was seeing her come on the Oprah show, and she was so young.
Nice.
Like I
I'm
think
gonna
it
have
was
to
her
try to
first
find that
time
like
on, and she
video.
was just so young and so sweet and cute. And I remember watching that episode, and I was a young mom, and I was probably, you know, folding laundry and just looking at this, you know, just precious girl and thinking that girl's going to be something someday. This is a really special human being. And of course, I never would have imagined what she's accomplished. So I do understand that sense of that, the pride as a woman of look at you go, girl. But unfortunately, we don't do that in our society. We don't do a lot of celebrating, like true celebrating of other women because we've been so conditioned not to. And this is showing up in this, you know. And my goodness, she's tough. She doesn't let it, I mean, she seems to be able to let it roll off her back. But, you know, I
She
think
seems very grounded, like in a lot of ways.
it is sad though, because I think we forget that these famous people they have feelings and like what makes it
absolutely. I
okay
think
to speak about someone in the way that people do?
absolutely, and I think, you know, we started to kind of touch on this before we started recording this episode about, and I think that's where a lot of this hate comes in too. It's mindless, right? Because we, you know, you've got media, you've got social media, and it's like these people who have these platforms, these celebrities, we've become so accustomed to disconnecting ourselves from them as humans.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's a lot of conditioning around hating rich people.
Oh,
You
very
know, of
much
like
so.
they're rich, so they deserve it, basically. Like
Yes.
they're celebrities. They asked for it. They put themselves into the spotlight. And as
Absolutely.
opposed to being like, these are just people who chased their passions
Their
and their dreams and
and
became successful.
yeah.
And oh gosh, there went my train of thought. But what was I saying? But yeah, no, like we've really disconnected ourselves from celebrities as humans. And so I think it's made it easier for people to just trash them for no reason without actually thinking about why.
Although I think there's also this, it's like a I don't even know what the right word is for it, but it's like within human culture, just being a human being, we tend to create these little, it's like, oh well, there's hate being cast on this person. We're not even thinking about the person or what they're doing or what they did. It's just like, oh, the collective here is all saying this. I'm going to join in the collective because then I'm going to be like part of something.
It's also survival. It's also, if we're talking about this in terms of the witch hunts, you step out, you're the target.
Well, and this is, you know, I'm thinking about like back with witch hunts but just even like hangings, executions, you know, you go back in history, whenever it's depicted, first of all, they did these things publicly, right? Like that it's kind of strange when you think about, like, it was a thing, like,
Mhm.
and people would gather around. That's always how it's presented, and I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that's how it was, because
Yeah.
it's constantly written that way, right? And so everybody would gather around, and they'd be like booing and like
Mhm.
really egging on the situation, like,
Mhm.
kill them,
Mhm.
and throwing things at them. And we do this within our society. It's like we're so primitive in so
Mhm.
many ways. We're
Yeah.
so uncivilized, and yet we don't see it. And we think that somehow, because we don't do that stuff anymore, that, well, I mean, this isn't that bad. We don't realize that we're still doing the same exact
Mhm.
behavior. It's just we're doing what is actually acceptable
Mhm. Now.
now.
Yeah.
Let's
It's
just
evolved.
yeah, it's evolved hatred is
Yeah.
what it is.
We can't hang people in
Yeah,
public anymore.
yeah, it's an evolved witch hunt is
Yeah.
what we're doing. And it's that camaraderie of, yeah, take them down, like, we don't like this, like, because why would you feel the need, first of all, right off the bat, to waste your time?
Mhm.
Back to Taylor Swift. If you don't like her, that is fine. Don't
Mhm.
like her. That's totally acceptable.
Yeah.
You don't like her music? By all means, don't listen to it. That's okay.
Well, that's the thing too.
But why do you have to go on and say terrible
Yeah.
things?
Well, and that's the
Why do
thing
you
too.
have
It's
to
like
shame other people for
it's
liking her?
yeah. Well, and it's interesting if we're, if you think about, you know, it's interesting how certain people get picked,
Oh, yeah.
right? Where it's like, we're not doing that to
Oh,
a bunch of
gosh.
other
With
people.
celebrities, it's terrible. Like,
Yeah.
it is so random too.
Yeah.
It seems like it
Well, it
is.
seems like it's like the more successful
Yeah.
they become.
I've also noticed there's a little bit something to do with, maybe even something to do with their looks. Like,
Mm.
I'm not saying that it's just like we'll say more attractive, because definitely everybody has a different perception of what attractive is. But I don't know. It's like, you know, Brad Pitt was always in the thing, I mean, and
Mhm.
he's kind of this blonde, and I don't know. I'm just, it's a
Yeah.
curious thing to know, like, what is it that you pick out just
Mhm.
certain people? But then again, like, before we started recording, I mentioned Meghan Markle,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
which, I mean, she doesn't fit into any particular look or anything like that, but oh my gosh, the things that have been said and
Mhm.
about her, like, it's just disgusting, and
Yeah.
there's no need for it.
Yeah.
And that's coming in from all kinds of different directions, right? She doesn't meet that royal standard, and
Mhm.
oh, she's biracial, and like, it just, yeah. So
Yeah.
it, yeah, not
No.
not acceptable,
No.
not acceptable that we do this in our society. But here we are, still
Mhm.
doing it. We have to evolve past this.
Yeah.
We have to see, like, the waste of energy it is right off the bat. That's just off the
Yeah.
top. Don't you have better things to do?
Yeah.
Don't you have better
True.
things to
Yes.
talk about? Why
Absolutely.
waste your energy?
Yeah.
Do you understand that you're actually giving your energy to them?
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
this
Well, not even to them. You're giving
well,
your energy to these shitty magazines and paparazzi and
that's just
media that's just putting out
absolutely.
garbage.
Oh, 100%.
And for what?
Yeah.
You're
Playing
playing
into it.
into these systems and
Yeah.
keeping yourself in this mindless haze and not looking at the actual issues.
Yeah.
Like we talked about just a few minutes ago, I saw this kind of on the same wavelength of like attacking to Taylor. If we want to think about like how women are, I'm going to say, attacked online all the time. Like I saw this post recently of Blake Lively. Um,
Yes.
and it was,
This has been a serious
well, and
issue.
she's so in the media right now with everything that's going on with her and go figure, another strong, powerful, successful woman.
Yeah.
Um, but I saw this post where it was comparing photos of her from that movie she just did. I can't. It Ends with
It
Us,
ends with us.
and her when she was in Gossip Girl.
Mhm.
She's probably like there's probably like a 10-year age gap. I want to say at least or more.
At
more.
least,
Yeah,
at
it
least,
would probably be more.
yeah. No, I'm pretty sure we're in a more
Yeah, so it's
15,
like
20
yeah,
years,
like,
yeah.
so it's like comparing photos of a 20-something-year-old and a mom of 4, 3? I don't know, couple
Yeah,
kids.
I think
But you know what I mean?
they have 3
It's
or 4,
very
yeah.
it's
Yep.
and it's photos comparing her outfits and how what she was wearing, like, it was this whole carousel. And I looked at it because I was curious. I was like,
Mhm,
"What bullshit is this?"
mhm.
Like, and I just looked at like the ridiculousness of this and how, first of all, right off the top, you're comparing outfits of characters she played. She's not in
It's not her.
this is not her
It's not
fashion
her.
choices that she made. And the comparison was basically that the outfits from Gossip Girl accentuated her waist, and the ones from the It Ends With Us did not. So basically, it was just like, this is how you should dress. These are terrible, basically. And then
Oh.
I did go into the
That's
comments because I do get curious every once in a while because I'm like,
me
please
too.
tell me,
It's
please tell
rare
me
it's
there's not,
rare, but on
yeah, like I'm
occasion.
just,
Yeah.
and I started looking through the comments, and it was pretty evenly mixed between men and women, just like tearing her apart in there. And I was like, first of all, this is so dumb on a base level because this is an actress. These are the
Plain
ward
parts
playing
that the
parts.
wardrobe
The
department
wardrobe has decided these. So it's like,
based
first of
on the
all, yeah,
character.
the character. Yeah, exactly. These were not her choices.
Yep.
So first of all, it was just like, that is so stupid right there. You
Yep.
all sound really dumb right now.
Yep.
Um, and second of all, and like that was one of the moments for me where like I really struggled to not get involved in the comment stream because I was just like,
I hear you.
on the next level, I was just like, why are we tearing women apart like this? And like, I mean, that's just one example. It's so
It's
out there,
terrible.
and it's just
It's
like, it's two
terrible. I
extremes.
mean, she's like I said, she's a mother
Yeah.
of girls. I know, like,
Well,
and well, those girls are going to read that, like, but no consideration for that this is a human being. This is a mother who has children. Those children are going to see those things, the
mm-hmm,
tabloids, the, the disgustingness. I mean, I'm sure that the but those parents work really hard to protect
mm-hmm,
their children from that. But it's still, it's on the principle of the whole thing. Like, why do you feel the need to hate someone? You don't know them.
mm-hmm,
You don't know them as a human being. I mean, these people hating on Taylor Swift, they've never sat down with her and had a
mm-hmm,
conversation with
mm-hmm,
her and got to be in the presence of her energy or her lights, or they're just making these judgments based on her power, and that they don't like her songs, and that she sings about all of her ex-boyfriends,
mm-hmm,
supposedly, her feelings that she owns and has a
mm-hmm.
right to express in her art, like all artists do. Every
Well,
artist, I mean,
and
men don't get
I was just
criticized for
gonna say,
singing
and
about
we can
women.
get into the whole conversation of like, men don't get criticized. Nobody's out there, criticizing male artists for talking about all their different
Yep.
exes and whatnot, and being like, oh gosh, what a God, can he keep it in his pants? Like, you know what I mean? Like, nobody's really out there doing
It's
that.
very rare.
Very rare.
Very rare. And and just the judgments over everybody she's dating, when
Mm-hmm.
we've seen so many famous men date people that were age inappropriate, straight up,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody said a word for decades. That went on.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody saying anything. It was
Well,
totally
and I mean,
acceptable.
furthermore, we wouldn't know how many people Taylor Swift was dating. Like, this is if she wasn't constantly followed by paparazzi. Like, I mean, really, if you think about it, it's none of our business. I mean, like,
No,
she writes about these
no.
things and whatnot, but
Well, and
it's
then
like,
I've heard a
why do
lot.
people get so invested in it too?
I
It's
don't
like,
know. And
that's,
I've heard a lot of stuff about how much money she spends on, you know, traveling, and
mm-hmm,
her environmental impact and this type of stuff. And I'm just like, um, yeah, when you have that level of fame,
mm-hmm.
you probably have to fly on a private jet. That's just the
Yeah,
reality for
how else
safety.
are you going to
And when you're
travel?
jetting
Yeah.
all over the world, for concerts, to keep your fans happy, to do what you do, which it's important. It actually is important work. I think we dismiss that because music makes people, it helps them. It helps
Well,
them process their own
absolutely.
emotions. How often do you put on a song when you're wanting to tune into something, a feeling,
Mhm.
or to make you feel better, make you feel
Mhm.
happy in the car, or maybe, as young girls for sure, we put on songs as we're crying because we're heartbroken, and she played a vital role in
Mhm.
that for young women.
Well,
So
no, absolutely, and I mean, not even just the music, but also, like, when I shared that post a while back that kind of, like, launched this whole conversation, it was like, I was thinking about the fact too of, like, how amazing is it for all these little girls to and any boys that are fans too, to see this, like, but specifically girls, because I was, like,
yeah,
thinking for myself, being I was kind of a little bit older in my teenage years when Taylor Swift hit the scene, but before that, I didn't really connect to anyone. Like, there wasn't any, like, big kind
hmm,
of women in my
yeah,
that were standing out, that was, like, someone you could look
yeah,
at and be like, "Wow, amazing," like, that kind of role
yeah.
model to look at, to be like, "I could do that," like, to dream, to be like, "She's
that's
so to
that's
look up
just it right
to
there.
be like, "Oh, like, I wanna try that outfit," or, "I wanna try playing with my makeup that way," like, how amazing is it for all these little girls to have,
It's a
like,
phenomenal thing.
actually, what seems like a very decent human being as a role model like
It's
that?
actually quite
Because if
important
you
for your giving you confidence for your self-expression,
Yeah.
giving you confidence to use your voice. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, for me, being older, like, you know, it was Madonna.
Mhm.
And Madonna came on the scene and she dressed wild and I loved it.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh yeah, that sign me up. I want to explore this." And I don't know if that hadn't been a part of my experience
Mhm.
as a child, if I would have had the you have to be a little bit brave
Mhm.
to not care what anybody's going to say or think and dress different than the
Mhm.
crowd, right? It
Yes.
was a big deal.
Yeah.
And then I showed up at school and I had it, I was dressed different,
Mhm.
and girls started to, more and more started to pop
Mhm.
up, and it was a great thing. It's very important that as women, we have these role models as young girls, that we have them. I mean, we talked about this in one of our other episodes. It's gross negligence that women do not have enough other women to look up to and
Mhm.
to aspire to. In our history books, it's not written that way. It was, what was it? It was
Oh my god, it was
point
like point
point
zero
zero
five.
five
Yeah.
percent of
History books.
history books have mention of women who've
Mhm.
done things. It's ridiculous, and so we do need more, as many women as we can, to be out there and be in the public eye to inspire girls. We need
Mhm.
to hear more about the greatness that women are achieving and have achieved,
Absolutely,
and
because
it's not
well,
there.
yeah, because if you're not seeing it, it's like, in a lot of ways, seeing is believing. So if you're not seeing it,
Absolutely.
you're not getting any kind of idea that that's something you could do
Yeah.
or aspire to be, or, you know
Absolutely. No, um and of course, if women gain power, if women think that they can do things, that will jeopardize this ridiculous, dysfunctional, toxic patriarchal system that we've
Mhm.
been in. If the women stop doing what our role is within this patriarchal system, the whole thing will collapse. That's just the
Yeah.
facts right there. And we need to make it collapse,
Yeah.
because that really is, it's a very, very important to get rid of this system. And when
Mhm.
we as women play in to, and honestly men too, because
Mhm.
the patriarchy affects them as well in terrible ways, and they're suffering and
Mhm.
hurting because of it. It's not that it's just women. So when we do this, when we tear down a powerful woman, a successful woman, a woman who's not afraid to stand in her power, speak her mind, and express herself, we are we're setting ourselves back even further every single time, allowing these modern day witch hunts, if you will. It's not for our best interest, and yet we're so caught up in just not being open to see the full picture that we're perpetuating a problem, a very serious problem. It's yeah.
Well, and I think it's like easy in some ways, I think, once again, to kind of like separate yourself from like celebrity figures, like, and but if you think about the actual, it's like the energy behind it. Like that's kind of also where I went to, with this whole, clearly this post made me really think of a lot of things. I'm like, wow. But I was thinking about the energy behind it too, because I mean, sometimes, I went for a long time without sharing things on social media. Like I didn't really share things because I was just like, well, whatever. Why? Like that seems so
It's a
silly.
waste of time.
Waste of time.
Yeah.
But I kind of like got into this like new phase of sharing things like that, or like especially sharing things like with big famous people or whatever. I'm like, oh, well, like they get enough attention, like whatever.
Yeah.
They don't need me to share it. But then I kind of got into this, very much into this different mindset of like, no, like I don't care that Taylor Swift will probably never know who I am or any of that.
No.
I am celebrating women. I am putting like that's kind of, it's like that's the energy I'm putting forth. And I think so it's like changing that energy too and how we think about these things. So it's like you might not ever meet this person, they might not ever know, but we are all connected.
That's the
and
key.
what is the energy that you're putting out there?
And that is the key right there, is the celebration of women and allowing for that. And as women, we have to, this is actually, it is our responsibility. When you hear someone speaking about, and we'll do a famous person, a famous woman, and tearing her down, interject, man or woman, and say, that's an interesting point of view. So have you met her? Like, do you know her? Oh, where did you get this literature? That's a shame that you feel that way. Like, challenge it a bit. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to be super confrontational. But, and no, you're not going to change everybody's mind.
No.
That's for sure. But it is our responsibility to start standing up and saying no more. And we need to do it in our everyday lives because it happens all the time. Famous people aside, that's, to me, that's just a waste of everybody's energy because you don't even know these people and you're just being nasty for no reason. But we hear it. Oh, she's just too much. Challenge that. Oh, why is she too much? She takes up space. She's loud and uses her voice and isn't afraid. I think that's fantastic. We need to be bolder and start challenging these things because it is actually, it's so out of control and it's not helping us to progress.
No.
We cannot continue in this cycle. We know that we are caught in a system that doesn't work. I mean, most people are waking up to this part. They're unhappy. They know that something's wrong. They know that things have to change. I mean, most people are pretty aware of this right now. And they're feeling it deeply. But it's not going to change if we don't start using our voices and using our power and coming together and stopping, to tear each other apart and criticize one another. And we're going to be more powerful if we come together.
Yeah. No, and I think, I think that's so important, like what you just said, like, a lot of people are waking up to this. And, I mean, I hear it, I think every time I go out in public and I'm hearing people, having small chat, like there's elements of that coming up of like people being like, oh gosh, like things got to change. Like there's that kind of vibe coming up in like pretty much every time I go out in public, I'm hearing conversations like this. And I think a lot of people don't know what to do. I think a lot of people feel very overwhelmed and don't realize that it can begin as simply as doing exactly what you just said, interjecting, changing the conversation, taking that pause and being like, wait a minute, no, not just continuing to flow with the normal conversation.
Well, step one, don't engage. in the conversation
Yeah.
in negativity yourself.
Yeah.
That's like right off the bat, because we do it. We've
Yeah.
been conditioned to do it. It's in the sister wound, the witch wound.
Well,
We've been
we've been
taught to hate each other.
well, yeah, we've been conditioned to either just play along and follow the or just not say anything. I
Not
think for
say anything. Yeah,
women,
don't
probably a lot
disrupt,
more
no
just I know for myself,
confrontation.
like, that's
Yep.
been a big one for me
Yep.
where it's like, I won't say
Yep.
like, I wouldn't say
Yeah.
anything, like, I
And
would have
I'm not going to get into it online like that.
yeah,
I won't
no,
do, because
that's
I know
a
that at
waste
that
of time.
point things have gotten so out of control. You've got hundreds and hundreds, thousands of people just
Yeah.
having their own little, like, their little witch burning,
Mhm.
essentially. It makes them feel like they're actually accomplishing something by
Mhm.
having that conversation, and you interjecting, chances are it's just going to be a waste of your time.
Mhm.
But when you encounter it in real time, because you're going to start
Yeah.
planting seeds, but like the biggest one is like, ask yourself, like, it, because we do naturally, so many of us go to criticize other
Mhm.
people, this judgment, and to tear them down in some way, just because something about them we don't like.
Mhm.
And check yourself. Why? Why don't you like that woman you work with?
Mhm.
And then step back from it for a second, because a lot of our judgments are based on what we're reading from a person, but we don't actually know the person.
Mhm.
Get to know people before you make any judgment at all. Like, you don't
Yeah.
have to be friends with everybody,
Yeah.
but if you're not their friend, you don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
You don't know about what their struggles are and what they're going through. And even with celebrities too, like, you don't have a freaking clue what they're going through, what put them through that to create that song that you don't like, or why they need to have so many bodyguards because of how many stalkers
Mhm.
they've had and how many death threats they've had, and the hell of what that is. I mean, there's no
Well,
compassion in it.
and
There's,
I think it's the crazy part is with specifically talking about, like, the whole celebrity thing too, if you're playing into all of that negativity and all of that, like, you're playing into the very systems that you're angry at. You're
100%.
feeding them, you're
You're,
helping them
yep,
keep going,
yep,
like, that's bottom line right there.
right there. Yeah, you don't like the system, you don't
Yeah,
like the way the world's
yeah,
working, then stop
yeah,
participating in the way the world's working.
yeah,
Say no more and
yeah.
stand up and use your voice. Like, we have to rebel
Mhm,
against this. As women, our power has been taken away for so long that for so many of us have forgotten we have power.
mhm.
And even those of us that are remembering, it's really hard to access it because we've been so disconnected from it. We're just like, well, but where, how, like, how? We're scared of confrontation.
Mhm.
We're scared to use our voices. It has to change.
Well, yeah, disconnected from our power and also disconnected from each other because I think
So
you
disconnected from
know,
one another.
it's very easy to feel like, well, what difference would it make if I stopped participating in that negativity? Or, it's so easy to think that.
Oh, it's very easy to be like, I'm just one
I'm
person, I
just one
can't make any
person. What can
change.
I do? Right?
But you truly can. You
Yeah.
truly can make change, because even if you don't see it in your lifetime,
Mhm.
young people that encounter you, they're going to see something different, and that's going to register with them. I know for myself, there are so many strong women that I have had the privilege of knowing in my life at all different ages, and they greatly impacted me.
Mhm.
I have not forgotten. And men too.
Mhm.
And they have stuck with me, people of outstanding character and compassion, people who do not play in to the system. So, and it's given me confidence, and it's helped me be brave and be able to use my voice.
Mhm.
So important. Our behavior is very important, and we do
Yeah.
make a difference. One person really does make a
Yep.
difference, very much so. So, no, like, I think a lot of it comes into compassion too, is stepping back and, you know, when you're reflecting on your own behavior and how you interact and engage, and if you're criticizing, if you're tearing people down, tune into the compassion of the situation, because if you tune into that, it changes things a lot in your mind. Like, I could get annoyed with we'll just say a grumpy checker at the grocery
Mm-hmm.
store. But when you step back, and I know we've all heard this before, but have we really sat with it, with everything we're encountering? I don't know what she's gone through. I don't know what her day has been like. I
Mm-hmm.
have no idea if she just got yelled at by one of her supervisors. She could have a sick child at home. She could have an elderly parent who's dying.
Yeah.
You have no concept what another human being is going through, and therefore
Yeah.
you have no right to tear them down.
Yeah.
It's just inappropriate, and yet it's part of it's culturally acceptable. It's actually
Mm-hmm.
how we bond with one another. We bond with one another through gossip and
Mm-hmm.
through hating on other people. It's very common,
Mm-hmm.
and judging other people and ripping them apart,
Yeah.
and why can't we bond through healing
Mm-hmm.
and love and possibility and change and coming back into our power together in community, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing, is we've lost community, and the only like community we can feel is when we latch into sort of these toxic
Mm-hmm.
patterns. And we need to say, no, no
Yeah.
more to that. Like, I mean, the sister wound is running deep,
Yeah.
deep in this, causing a huge problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only reason why a woman would have any reason to criticize a strong, powerful woman, be it a famous person
Mm-hmm.
or someone else, is that sister wound is running deep,
Mm-hmm.
and the witch wound too.
Yeah.
So no, we have to change the
Well,
way
yeah.
we speak
Yeah.
about other people.
Absolutely.
Words have
No, I
power.
mean, because how much more like amazing would it be instead of, feeling threatened by a strong, powerful woman or just, a
Mhm.
woman
Mhm.
living her everyday life that you
Yeah.
admire and,
Mhm.
I think all women are strong and powerful. I'm not saying like,
Absolutely.
one's better than the other,
Absolutely.
but if you're looking at other women and you're feeling threatened, how amazing would it be if we start changing that instead of feeling threatened and tearing her down because she has something you want? Because really, at the end of the day,
A
if
lot
you're
of
feeling threatened and you're
times.
judging, there's something in that person that you feel you're lacking, in my opinion.
Mhm.
In some way, you feel like because you're comparing yourself,
Yep.
you know? How
Or
much
you're trying to find a flaw in her too.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
There's it's like you don't there's something you don't feel good about yourself.
Yep.
But how amazing would it be if we changed that and instead of doing the tearing down, it's like, oh, you take a minute to reflect on that and oh, wait, I don't feel good about myself in that area or whatever it is. Maybe I ask that woman for help.
Mhm.
Maybe I befriend that woman and be like, hey, like you find growth and inspiration and like I don't know how to do that thing that like I'm super like I feel jealous that you can do this
Mhm.
beautiful thing and
Do you have
you
any
don't
time to
necessarily
teach me?
yeah, you don't necessarily have to go into all that of like
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
not worthy or whatever, but
Yeah.
like that's an amazing thing that woman's doing and oh my gosh, I wonder if she would teach me or show me, or do you know someone who could? Or it's just changing. It's changing that.
Well, I mean, that's part of the key of self-improvement, is surrounding yourself
Yeah,
with people who are doing better than
I was
you,
gonna
so
say,
that you're actually getting
yeah,
inspiration and you're seeing a way and you're learning.
yeah,
Because if you stay caught in the same social dynamic that you're in, just casting judgment on others,
mhm,
you're just going to stay in that same spot. But
mhm,
it's when those exact people that you're judging, when you step in and you befriend them, or at least
yeah,
try,
yeah.
that your life starts to change too in a
I think
positive
with that,
direction.
I was gonna say, like, I guess what comes with that is you actually have to be willing to face your shit. Like
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah.
step into that without being willing to look at yourself and be like, "Oh, yeah, I don't feel good there," or
Mhm.
I feel
Yep.
less than worthy in
Yep.
that area. Like you
Yep.
have to be able to look at yourself
You
and face
absolutely
that
do.
to be able to then surround yourself with those people and
Yep.
be like and acknowledge that like you don't like I said, you don't necessarily have to tell them you don't feel worthy. You can too.
Yeah.
But to be able to acknowledge that for yourself, to be like, "Ooh, I don't feel worthy.
Yep.
However, I want to.
Mm-hmm.
So I am good enough and
Yep.
I want to feel like I'm good enough and I
Yep.
want to improve my life. So therefore, I am going to step into these uncomfortable situations where I don't necessarily feel like I belong yet. And I'm going to ask and I'm going to learn and I'm going to grow
Yep. No, I
instead
mean,
of, like you said, just tearing down and staying stuck in where you are."
yep. No, I mean, absolutely. And there's the key. If you are criticizing people, if you're being, nasty about people you don't even know,
Mm-hmm.
and tearing people down, I think you need some healing.
Yeah.
It's a
Bottom
self
line.
check. I
Yeah.
think you might need some healing so that
Yeah.
you can do a little bit of reflecting and face your shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly what you said.
Yeah.
You do. You need to face your. You need to be able to look at your own bullshit
Mm-hmm.
and navigate through it. Why do you feel so terrible that that's where you're putting your energy?
Mm-hmm.
Because come on, I would much rather put my energy into, making beauty in the world and planting gardens.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no interest in tearing down somebody for no reason whatsoever that I do not know. That is just absolutely madness. I don't have any interest in tearing anybody down, period.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
What other people are doing in their lives in so many ways is none of your business unless they're hurting
Yeah.
someone
Yeah.
and you legitimately know that.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No. Pretty much.
But no, and like we were saying, I really truly do not know that very many people have associated like the witch hunt with what we see go on in
Mm-hmm.
our society today. Like we think that that is a thing of the past. It's gone. It doesn't exist. Oh, it was this terrible time. It was just awful. We've just found a different way to do it that's socially acceptable and not as brutal,
Mm-hmm.
and doesn't end up in death necessarily,
Mm-hmm.
although some of our witch hunts in our bullying do end up in death. We see
Yep.
this going on amongst teens, and where
Mm-hmm.
do those teens get that bullying? They get it from watching those that are older than them,
Mm-hmm.
and this is why we have to stop it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it results in death, addiction, eating
Addiction,
disorders, like all of these things,
um,
right?
a an extreme crisis of mental
Mm-hmm.
health.
Yep.
So yeah, it's time for us to say no more.
Yeah.
And as women, we do have so much more power than they have led us to believe that they want us to know. And it's time to wake up.
Yeah.
It's time to wake up. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It can feel very frustrating, and it is understandable how some people can definitely think that one person can't make a
Mm-hmm.
difference, and why even bother, but we can do
Absolutely.
this.
And yeah, and it just, I think like we already said, but I think it's worth saying again, it's just starts with small changes in your life,
Small.
right? It's like awareness and then shifting, just making these
Yep.
small changes. You don't have to become a big speaker or have like a big platform or
No,
start,
no.
whatever.
Nope.
It's
Nope.
it's making these individual changes in
It's
your
the
life in
individual
how
changes.
you
Yep.
and how you think and how you speak
Yep.
in speaking up,
Yep.
in how you relate to other people,
Yep.
and how you can like yeah, how you talk about other people and connect with other women
Yep.
as well. Like that's changing the
No.
conversation with your friend groups,
Yep. Yep.
you know?
No, I know for myself, like we'll just go back to our sort of our baseline topic of our beautiful Taylor Swift. Like one of the ways
Mhm.
I've handled it is I have encountered quite a few young people who why are you looking at what's
Sorry,
happening?
I was just checking. I was checking on something, and then I got yeah.
um our I have encountered some young people who are very much, they don't like the rich. That this is a thing, okay,
Mhm.
and there are reasons for that. Some of them very very valid
Mhm.
reasons. And Taylor Swift will come up, and they'll start ripping her apart
Mhm.
and saying, "Well, no," and like, look at what she does and look at all the money that's spent, and nobody needs that much money. Nobody needs that much money. And this, and, and whatever. They have, all their little opinions. And I will always say, you will not convince me to bash this very, very successful young woman. I will not do it. What about all the good that she does do? I do agree with you. No one single human being necessarily needs to have that much money. However, she does do a lot of good things with her money. Could she do more? I don't know. I don't know her finances. Neither do you. Yeah. Right? Like, it's all hearsay. But I will not tear down this woman. I won't do it. And I stick to that. I will not play into this. Yeah. I can see your points. Yeah. I validate some of your points. However, there's no need to start ripping her apart just because she's now a billionaire, and you don't like that, and you don't like millionaires and billionaires, and they're the problem in the world, and that's the elite 1%. She's not the typical elite 1%. No, I was going to say, I mean, I think there's and I mean, that could be said for, any rich person. It's exactly. You kind of got to look at their, once again, it's you don't know these people and you don't know what all they're doing, but I think to a certain degree there is a bit of a sense of who's out there destroying the environment and who's not. Exactly. I mean, I feel like that's bottom line. Who's out there doing terrible things and not helping the well-being of the planet and people, who doesn't have our best interests at heart, and who has just managed to be super successful and is actually doing really good things with that, and treating their staff amazing and giving them all kinds, it's and I have had some debates within this, because sometimes, the environmental impact of one of her concerts, right? And I'm just okay. And when she goes to play any place, wherever the town is, towns hope that she will come there because she changes the economy like that, and donates masses of food to the food bank. And of course, when you have a concert with that many people, there is going to be some environmental impact, water bottles and all, but so will there be with any concert? But that's just going to happen. At the same, you can think about it that way too, right? That's going to happen with any concert. That happens with any festival. Find the balance in it here, right? So, but but that I only described that as to outline how simple it is to say, to stop, to change the conversation, to interject without needing to get into an argument, without it needing to be toxic. Just I won't do that. I don't agree with this conversation right now. And if you're in a really toxic, but people really at it, then you can just dismiss yourself from the, well, I'm not going to stand here and engage in this. I'm sorry, this doesn't feel good. Yeah. And you walk away. Yeah. That's a great way of approaching. If in an office environment or something, if a bunch of people are bashing on somebody, just trying, this doesn't feel productive and this feels icky. I don't choose to participate in these types of conversations. Yeah. And you walk away. If at bare minimum, making that statement. Will it impact anybody? It just might. It's worth taking that chance. Well, yeah, because you never know. I mean, with that kind of thing, it's it's much better to actually say, I'm not participating in this, than to walk away quietly, because there might be someone else in that circle who doesn't want to be participating in that, but is too scared to say it. I've seen circles of people disperse when you stand up and say something. Yeah. Because now they feel people start feeling uncomfortable. No, it's true. Yeah. It's true. So, and we need to do more of that. We need to not be afraid. And being afraid of confrontation, it is something that I am so guilty of in my life. And I get it. And why bother? But it's time to be bothered. Yeah. Because we're already bothered. So we might as well be bothered. Yeah, exactly. So, and playing into gossip and all that. So we've got to stop. We have to, as women, refuse to gossip about other women. It has to stop. Yeah. It has to end. You know, if you're talking about another woman because you actually have genuine concern for her
Mm-hmm.
and you want to try to do something to help her, that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's not gossip. That's actual community taking care of one another. And yeah, sometimes you do have to say like she's going through a hard time, and that's not, I think we need to really start to
Well,
understand what
I
gossip
was just going to say,
is too.
historically, like, gossip was actually productive.
Yeah.
It was how women let each other know about
Yeah.
things because it was the only way they
Yeah.
could communicate,
Mhm.
right? Was
Yep.
like, yeah,
Yeah. So,
gossip's been turned into a dirty word and
oh
a
yeah.
very unpleasant thing when
Oh
it
yeah.
used to be actually beneficial for women.
Stay tuned for
Yeah.
our episode on gossip.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So
So,
okay. Well,
well,
I think
on that note,
on that note, yeah, shoot another woman a compliment is what I would say.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
glad you
like
finished that sentence. Shoot
yes.
another
Shoot
woman.
another.
Like, what? Where's that going?
No,
Yeah,
just have
yeah,
compassion. Have
yeah,
compassion, even for the rich and famous.
yeah. They're people.
They are human beings with souls and with feelings, and I think that that's just part of treating other human beings with respect, is that we need to stop this. Enough is enough.
Yeah.
We don't need to be jealous of what they have. Um, they work hard
Hmm.
for what they have too. Like, if you think that it just comes easy being on a film and making a movie, it does
Yeah.
not. I have a child in that industry. It is insane how hard these people actually work.
Yeah.
And then because of their fame, they don't have some of the freedoms that we necessarily have to just
Hmm.
go out and about and you know, without having bodyguards and all that and drawing more attention. Like, just have compassion.
Yeah.
That's
In
all.
general,
It's
and
just
in
having
general,
compassion for
umbrella.
other human
Have an
beings. That's
umbrella of
it.
compassion.
Yeah. So anyway,
Uh,
on that note, if you have enjoyed today's episode, please share it with someone who might also enjoy it. And be sure to check out our offerings on our, it's in our bio on our Instagram
yes.
at Unraveling This Life. So, and until next time, we love you. Be kind and compassionate, and know that you are worthy.
Thank you for listening to Unraveling with July and Jamie. We're so grateful you are here. Thank you for supporting us, and most of all, for choosing yourself. If you want to connect with us and our work, check out the show notes for all the ways to dive deeper. And if this episode resonated, please share it with someone you love. Until next time, we love you, be kind, and remember, you are worthy.